Does your local dispensary carry extractioneering products? Ask them. And if they don't, tell them they need to. Learn more about their work over at extractioneering.com, which is spelled like engineering, but with the word extraction. That's extractioneering.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, September 26th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 338 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Before we get into the news, though, I need to make a quick announcement about a temporary scheduling change that will start tomorrow, Wednesday, September 26th, and should last about a month. One of the things I do outside my work life is coach the best middle school ultimate frisbee team in the state of Maine, and one of the duties of coaching involves going into the school to teach kids how to play ultimate frisbee in their gym classes. It's something I do every fall and spring, and unfortunately this season the timing on my teaching means that I'm losing a couple of hours of work time in the morning. Rather than wake up at 3 a.m. to maintain our 11 a.m. Eastern Standard publishing spot, I'm going to push back the time for when the show goes out to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. I apologize for the shift, but don't really want to wake up at 3 a.m., so yeah. The new shifted publication time, like I said, will only last a month or so and will bounce back to 11 a.m. as soon as I'm done teaching. This is a good place to suggest opening up mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed to subscribe to our newsfeed email newsletter, which will be unaffected by my ultimate teaching and will continue to go out at 7 a.m. every Monday through Saturday morning. Again, that's mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. All right, let's get into the headlines. Our top story of the day is a great piece by my buddy Tom Angel over at Forbes, who managed to suss out the number of people arrested for marijuana offenses out of the recently released FBI crime statistics report, even as the Trump administration moved to reduce the amount of information and data it put out to the public. In previous years, the report included the percentage breakdown for categories of drug arrests, but this year, in a move that should be in no way surprising for this dumpster fire of an administration, that didn't happen. Thankfully for all of us, though, we have Tom Angel, who tracked down those percentages from an FBI official. According to Tom's math, the crime stats show that police made more than 650,000 arrests for marijuana crimes in the U.S. in 2016, up around 10,000 arrests from the previous year. This rise in arrests corresponds to a growth in the number of legal cannabis states, so it leaves the question of what's going on. This is a good one to read in full. Our second and third top stories of the day are paired up in theme with one another, with both covering the complicated issue of where people living in states where marijuana is now legal can actually consume it. Our first story looks at the city of Los Angeles, which is being criticized by marijuana industry operators and activists for failing to provide any kind of system for businesses to offer cannabis consumption spaces to customers. With California about to roll out statewide adult use legalization and Los Angeles set to be one of the state's larger markets, there's a lot of pressure to work out a public consumption program that doesn't criminalize people who use marijuana outside a private home. Currently the only place where people will be able to smoke come January 1st. I just want to quickly point out a pretty silly statement made in the story by Kevin Sabet, poster child for clueless prohibitionists everywhere, who was unfortunately interviewed and who said, quote, "I don't think we should be in the business of facilitating places where people can get high," unquote. No, Kevin, that's exactly what we need to be doing. You lost, now go away. Our final top story of the day is pretty much the same as our second, but shifted north up to the city of Toronto, Canada, which is, like LA, grappling with how to regulate how people use cannabis outside the home. Canada, also like California, is working to enact border-to-border adult use legalization by next year. On September 18th, the Toronto Municipal Licensing and Standards Committee voted to block city businesses from opening cannabis consumption spaces to customers, to the consternation of local activists and industry workers who showed up to testify on behalf of public use. This is a story that's going to keep popping up again and again in the near future as we collectively work through those last lingering fears of reefer madness, and the world sees that the first city to open up marijuana social spaces doesn't fall apart in an orgy of drug binges and all-night parties. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz on into headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Extractioneering, makers of the finest of legal cannabis concentrates and extracts. Seriously, you really need to open up Extractioneering's website and watch the video that Weed Maps produced highlighting their work and their love of craft and science. Extractioneering pours decades of professional experience in biochemical labs and a deeply fundamental understanding of the science of cannabis to produce a product that stands above and beyond its industry peers. Don't trust your dollars to anyone but the hardest core of hardcore marijuana science nerds. That's what you get when you do business with Extractioneering. Check out that gorgeous video and photos of their work over at extractioneering.com, which is spelled like engineering, but with the word extraction. That's extractioneering.com. All right, time for the Blitz. Turning back to LA for a headline, we have the news of the proposed rules for governing the city's soon-to-launch adult-use marijuana market that, as they are currently written, lock out existing cannabis cultivators who've been supplying the medical market. The issue has to do with the fact that in order to secure a state operating license under the rules of Proposition 64, you need one first from your local city or municipality. That will leave existing LA cultivators out in the cold, as the city's proposed set of regulations does not offer a way for them to be quickly issued a license. While City Council President Herb Wesson said on Monday that he and the city were aware of the problem and were working on a fix, it didn't leave industry insiders any more satisfied this side of an actual proposed solution. Swing over to the LA Daily News for all the details on this one. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Denver's Westword looks at some of these similarities and differences between Colorado's fully legal adult use marijuana market and California's semi-illicit medical marijuana market, soon to be turned fully adult use legal. The Westword's piece draws from data from BDS Analytics, which collects and curates sales data from dispensary point-of-purchase systems in legal states. This one is full of useful numbers and details, so again, I'll just direct you to click over for the full read. According to the number geeks over at Cannabis Benchmarks, the wholesale price for legal marijuana has fallen to a new low of an average of $1,614 per pound. That price was for the first half of this year and is $369 less than the wholesale price from the same period a year before. This fits into the model of a continuing price drop for legal cannabis as the risk premium falls away and increased competition comes into the cultivation market. The nation of Israel is moving quickly to embrace medical marijuana and could create a cannabis marketplace worth as much as $1.1 billion by 2022, according to some projections. Robert Lakin wrote a good piece over at Green Market Report that pulls together the picture of a country getting serious about medical marijuana cultivation and technology, with 8 growers having just been licensed to grow by the government and an additional 37 having been given provisional licenses earlier this year. A Canadian lawmaker is raising some eyebrows for his quick transition earlier this year from a member of the government task force working on the plan for nationwide cannabis legalization to being CEO and president of Aleafia, a medical marijuana company based out of Toronto. Rafe Sukar was a member of the task force that submitted their report back in November and said that he wasn't approached about the new industry job until months later. This is another one of those issues that we'll most likely see happen again, so maybe not a bad story to open up in full. And nice work to the National Post for the hard work on digging this one up. A study of cancer patients in Seattle suggests that around a quarter of those studied used medical marijuana to treat symptoms from their disease, with 24% saying they've used medical cannabis sometime in the last year and 21% having used it in the last month. The big takeaway from the report, though, seems to be the fact that most did so without any kind of professional medical advice. And finally for today, there's a marijuana farm in Vail, Colorado who's claiming to organically grow cannabis in a way that produces no extra CO2 emissions. This is an important story to read because it's likely that the future holds stricter environmental regulations for growing marijuana, and operations like the TNT Ranch in Vail are places where important lessons can be learned. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Extractioneering, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.